and welcome to my weekly Wednesday Live. I'm excited to be here with the one and only Pauline Reilly. Hello, Pauline.
Hello. I'm thrilled to be here, as always.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be so much fun. I am going to take a peek at my phone to make sure that everybody can hear us okay. It's always good to do a little sound check
Yeah.
before we dive into what we're going to cover today. I want to say hello to Judy and also to Janet. And I know there's several other people who have joined the group, but I haven't seen their names pop up yet. But give us a thumbs up in the group. Hello, Natalie. She's here. Terrific. And you sound great. Okay. Fantastic. So, what I wanted to do over the course of the summer was to bring on some of the most amazing women in my creative community who continue to evolve their creative businesses. And Pauline, you are such a great example of this.
Thank you, Anne.
So tell us, for people who don't know you, because many people are new in my community, and also many people will end up watching the replay of this broadcast. Tell us where you are. I am in California, which is on the west coast of the United States. Where are you?
I'm in Wales, in the United Kingdom. And if you look at the map of the United Kingdom, I'm about halfway up on the left. And Wales is a very beautiful country, obviously part of the United Kingdom. And we've been here a lot of years now, and we love it dearly.
And how long does it take you to get into London? If you wanted to go into London, is that like a 3 or 4 hour train ride, or what is it?
Probably about 2.5 hours from Chester, or sometimes we drive to Crewe, and then it's only like an hour and a quarter, and you can get every train. Everything changes at Crewe, so you can easily get a train from there. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, listen, let's dive right in. And of course, if people have questions, hello, Tara Lee. If anyone has questions, you can pop them into the comments, because I'm looking at the comments here periodically. I'm looking over in this direction, which is where my phone is, because Facebook keeps changing things, and sometimes you can't actually see people's names and comments anymore. But I can at the moment, which is awesome. So let's jump in. Pauline, you came into my community back in 2019. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 2019. I found you on Facebook.
Yeah, which is great, right? It's amazing that we can find each other
Yeah,
via Facebook. And you came
I
into my
know.
community
Yeah.
because I think that I had piqued your interest with the ad I was running about my Doodles program, right? How to
You,
turn your doodles into
yeah,
dollars or something like that.
that's it. It was Doodles to Dollars. Yes, yeah, fantastic. And it was perfect timing. I think it must have been about this time of year because I knew I was going to be on holiday at the time it was happening. We were going to Whitby in Yorkshire. And because at the time my husband worked for Airbus, and they have what they call factory weeks, which is the last week in July, first week in August. It was perfect. I knew I'd be able to devote my time to it, which was fantastic.
And now, when you started to learn how to create a repeating pattern, can you remember back to like what were some of the challenges that you found at the time? Because you're obviously wearing some of your clothes now, which is amazing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll get
yeah,
to that in a minute. But
yeah, yeah.
for people who still actually don't know how to use Adobe Illustrator, can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
like how did you get over the fear that, oh my gosh, this program's not that easy to use?
I think I just tried to box off the things that we needed it for, that you were teaching us for, and not worry about all these other things that it does. Because obviously it's a huge program, Adobe Illustrator, and even now I still don't, use all of it. I use what I know. And the biggest thing for me and you did keep saying this in the course, was make your doodles simple, as in so simple. But I hadn't, and every time I dragged it across to that swatch panel, it didn't want to go. And then I basically made a pattern that was literally 3 petal shapes. And I don't know whether it was that, then I had less to think about, but it worked. And then that was it. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And yeah, it was fantastic. But Adobe's tech. We're not to be afraid of it. We're in charge here. It just
Exactly.
takes a little patience.
We can do hard things. We just have to your point, break it down into the baby steps and not take on too much at once. And you pretty quickly put your designs as well as illustrations that you created onto products for your nail salon back in the day, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I always used to, before I'd done Doodles, I always used to go to trade fairs, and I always like to have nice things in the salon for, ladies to buy for a friend's birthday or treat themselves. Or so the thought that I could make some things that people would want to buy off me was, fantastic. So the sort of nail polish bottles were the first kind of thing that I used. And I've got a mug with me. Do you want me to show you that?
Yeah,
picture?
please, because one of the things I think is so great about your journey, and of course you continue to evolve your journey, but you had a nail salon prior to COVID hitting, and you've always had an incredible business brain, right? You're very business orientated, and so in your nail salon, you wanted to offer small gifts or giveaway, things that people could purchase for friends or for themselves. So you were using the salon not just to give people nail treatments, but also as a little mini gift shop. And then when you learned to put your own designs on products, you said, well, wait a minute, I should be selling my own, which started with that beautiful mug with nail polish on it.
Yeah, and we had, I had some T-shirts, and we changed the salon uniform so it had that pattern, and it kind of looked as though it was falling across the T-shirt, and we had aprons, and I did all sorts of little things. I think we had some coasters at one point, and of course, like you talk about a business, it all boosts your sales. It's really important. Obviously, yes, I wanted to do it for my clients, but because I know they're looking for those sort of things, but far better for them to buy from me than down the road at Boots kind of thing. So and it's a bit different because there's only sort of so many you can get. And I used to do in the beginning of December what I'd call my sparkle evening, where customers would come along. I give them some little treats, maybe a money off voucher for they had a goodie bag. Everybody loves a goodie bag. And so then it went on from there. So I've always had that. I think it's a retail brain like you, and I can't switch it off. When I go out now, I still see things that I think, they could try that, or they could do this, or
I know you and I exactly. You and I have this retail background. Where I worked at the Gap forever, and Esprit de Corps prior to that, and you worked at the Body Shop, right?
Yeah,
for a really, really long time. And but your area of specialty was very different from mine. I was sort of in inventory management and finance, but weren't you on like the visual, you were running the stores and on the visual side too, where you love to do the window displays?
Yeah, I do the window displays, and when I first started, basically they would send you out to body shops and different props, and you literally created your own. I mean, now in a retail like Body Shop, every window will look identical because that's what brand is. But when I first started, it was still quite young, and I used to love that you do basically, as long as you used that poster, you could pretty much kind of do what you liked, as long as it was promoting what we had kind of thing, so what we were selling. And I loved that. So that really appealed to me.
And you sold greeting cards in the store as well, right? In the nail salon.
Yes, I sold greeting cards in the store, in the salon. Yeah, I've kind of varied between the two. I make my own. I design them and print them off. I've got an Epson printer, and it's a back feed as well as inside, which makes such a difference for something like cards. And sometimes I print them all myself. And I think last Christmas when I spoke to you, I was like, if I see another card to fold, I'll have a complete meltdown. But sometimes sort of the cards that go into the post office now, because Mark sells so many, I kind of treat myself and I order them online. So I make a little bit less, but they're going through so quickly. I do nothing else other than fold cards.
Yeah, exactly. And so what's great about your story, and you also are such an incredible example of the fact that we can do hard things and we have to have a lot of resilience in our life. You had to close your nail salon during the pandemic, right? And
We did.
then
Yeah.
you didn't actually reopen it afterwards, and you had to really kind of pivot and move your business in a new direction. So talk just a little
We
bit about that.
Yeah, we did reopen after COVID, but my client numbers just weren't quite the same. And my business partner Suzanne, she ran her own business, but we worked together. Her business really recovered, and I think people had started doing their own nails. People still weren't going out, so I kind of bit the bullet and thought, this is the time. I need to do something. So I kind of, I'm very fortunate that I was asked by this wonderful lady, Anna Follett, would I be her community manager? So that was a few hours a week that I do for you, and best job I've ever had. And so I do that, and I started selling cards in the post office. Our postmaster Mark is an amazing. He's a real business kind of entrepreneur guy as well. And so I started selling cards there. The WI asked me to their craft fair, so I made some cards and sold them there. And at the time, I don't think I had tea towels to begin with. I was just, I did some mugs. And actually, quite often when you buy through print on demand, because you don't want to go out and buy 500 mugs, I didn't make a lot on each one, but it just got my artwork out there and made me feel confident about getting my art out there. And it was great to see, sales coming in. So yeah, it was fab. I love it.
Yeah, and so you have to talk a little bit about how you interact in your community, because you have been and will again have another opportunity. Well, you'll have another rotation as president of your Rotary Club,
Yeah.
and your town is relatively small, right? And so you had a store, you had your nail salon. So it feels like you're out and about, and you have a wonderful outgoing personality, and so people want to learn what it is you're doing, and then they make you these offers where, can I sell your products in the post office? So just talk a little bit about how that happens.
Yeah, I think it's in my nature to talk to people. I am a social person. I mean, years ago, Jed said to me, we'd love to just go into a shop and buy something without me having to have a full scale conversation with the retail assistant, unless they had a queue, because I wouldn't want to stop them taking money. But and community is everything to me. I didn't realise till I started in the salon, obviously, because before that I worked in retail, and I was working in Manchester, in Liverpool, Stockport, travelling all over really. And because I think the other thing, because Jed and I didn't have children, we didn't build up that network in the village. Jed did, because he knew people through work. But for me, so when I started in the salon, I suddenly realised that I hadn't expected it. So it was such a gift, so important. People would know me, they'd speak to me when they're out, and it's Pauline from Serenity, and I've just always built on that. It's like even now I've got two projects, one with church. Myself and one of the other worship leaders are organising a churchyard service that we're going to have, hopefully no rain, so we'll have it in the grounds of the churchyard, because people walk through there every day, whether they go to church or not. And so we've set up with the lovely charcoal gallery. They have ran a children's competition, so we're using some of their artwork on the service sheet. And then the other thing that I'm organising at the moment is with Rotary, and we've got quite a few defibrillators in the village. So we're having Callan Hearts is the name of the company. They're going to come and do training, and I'm hoping it's going to be absolutely packed. We're offering tea and biscuits and training. What else? What else could you want?
Tea and biscuits.
It's just in my way, tea and biscuits. It's in my way to talk to everybody, and as I say, I love to go into the shops in the village and the businesses and tell them what I'm up to and what what the community's up to, and it's just so important to me to have that. I feel very lucky to have that.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about your products. You're wearing one of your beautiful designs, both the dress and your headband.
My band. It's like a scarf.
It's like a beautiful scarf.
Both of these two actually I created within Procreate, and then for the dress, I love really big prints on my clothes, and it's not always easy to get when you're purchasing. So I just really, for all I created this in Procreate, I scaled it up in Adobe Illustrator. You know, I vectorized it, scaled it up in Adobe Illustrator, and then so I had this huge print, which I just love on the dress. And yeah, so that's the dress. This one I just kind of doodled. I might have seen this on Instagram or something. The print behind me was one of the first ones that I did. Which way am I going? That way.
Yep.
And this is because I'm in my studio now, and I want something really bright and very much. You can see kind of my style, the big sort of shapes and that I do. And yeah, so that's what. And I've made. I have got a book actually that it's not a repeating pattern, but that's one we've done for Rotary. That's like on KDP. You know, the
Nice. Amazon KDP. Yeah.
Ellen, and that's in our brand colours. And then one of my other prints. Now I've just ordered this from a company in the UK. So that's one of my, and that's my favourite blue one. I'm very much a blue girl.
Oh, it's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Yeah. It's almost, it says it's a shark satin, but it almost feels like a viscose. And I feel confident enough now to kind of have a go and make a dress myself now. So I'm gonna do that. And I've got another, trying to see what else I've got out. Well, the other thing I took, that you'll have seen that harden with a H that I do. So I've put it on a tote bag.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And that's the harden with a H. More tea towels are on the way. And then this one, I've done some more, but this one in particular is my friend's daughter. It says Harden Wales, and we've got the Welsh dragon on there. And that, I designed that for Lauren, for my friend Helen Cooper. Her daughter Lauren lives in New Jersey now. She's home at the moment. And I wanted something for her to take back. And I didn't want to just give her chocolate. I know her mum will give her all those kind of things. So I've designed that bag very Welsh. She's not Welsh, but lived in Wales here. So yeah, she's going to take that back, and it'll probably be the only one over there. So
it'll be great. It'll stand out, and everybody will want to know where she got it for sure.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit more about as you, kind of pivoted and you run my Facebook group community for my membership, which is called Anne's Atelier, and we're so grateful to have you as the community manager there, because you are always on the lookout to make sure that people are not getting lost, that they know how to find everything, and so you're always, in the DMs, making sure that people know how to find us when we're doing something in the membership together, which I so appreciate. And then you also then started to expand beyond Illustrator. Speaking of technologies, you discovered the Procreate app and started to really focus quite a lot of attention on building doing a lot of design work on that app. Talk a little bit about discovering it and what you love about it. Let's talk about that.
I think, and as you know, Anne, I've talked before about the fact that I always thought I could draw, and you always knew I was creative. And then when I went to senior school, my teacher was a fine artist and created beautiful work, but that's not my style. And unless you could already create that, she kind of wasn't interested. But instead of me just carrying on, I stopped drawing. I started thinking I couldn't draw. So in that time before, I did all sorts of other things, and sewing and silver clay, all kind of things. And then when after talking to yourself and you saying everyone can draw, because if you can write, you can draw. It's practice. So when I found the Procreate app for my iPad, and I learned a little bit about layers, because you can draw things on different layers. And I was already drawing every day in my notebook, and I still do kind of draw, with pen and ink. But I found that my drawing for me improved greatly, because I could tweak a layer. I didn't have to destroy the whole thing. So that's how that kind of started. And then you encouraged me to do a course to teach others, which I have, my Procreate Simply course. And I have a membership, which again, you encouraged me, my lovely ladies in the membership. And very much what I teach is not to teach people to draw. The ladies that are in my membership are all fabulous artisans in their own right. So what I'm teaching them is all the different tricks that Procreate can do, how it can, if you're trying to digitize some of the work, that not necessarily repeating pattern, how you can do that. For example, I looked at a tool in quite a lot of detail, and that's what we talked about last night, how, what you can do. So I'm kind of pulling it apart and then showing people how to do it, rather than teaching somebody how to draw an apple in Procreate, or that's not my vibe. It's to kind of teach that techie stuff, really, yeah.
Which is so great, right? Because we can sometimes think that, oh my gosh, the tech's going to be so hard, and then here you are teaching the tech. And the techie part, and right, isn't it just fabulous how we evolve and how things that seemed hard at first are now really easy for us, and then we can help the next group of women who are feeling like it's hard, and we can help them realize it's not that hard. I can show you how to do it. It's just such a blessing to be able to share these gifts with others.
I think for me, when I was in my mid-50s, I know Jed was wanting to study more, and he hasn't gone back to college or anything, but, he reads a lot, not just novels and things. He's kind of studies that way, and I love the thought of that, but I'm not good at sitting with a book. I need to be doing something. I'm not good at sitting still. I'm never good on the beach because I can't sit still. So but I knew I wanted to study something, but I just didn't know what I was going to do. And then you came along, and I never look back. I always say you changed my life, and you absolutely did. It's like now I'm looking at getting back into sewing. The last time I kind of sewed clothes, I was in my teens. So it's, but as well now, I obviously want to use my own patterns and designs. So it's given me a real thirst for knowledge again, and wanting to increase that.
And sharing your incredible creativity in so many different ways. And so I wanted to talk also a little bit about, you love the town in which you live, and there are beautiful, beautiful monuments in the town in which you live. And so one of the things that we talk a lot about is when you're creating art, part of it is entirely for pleasure for yourself, and part of it needs to be commercial, right? So that it's more saleable. So talk a little bit about how you kind of leverage the beauty of some of those amazing, castles and bridges and other monuments in art and on your work, especially when you want to offer them for sale on various products at a craft fair.
Yeah. So that Harden with a H is my real kind of passion. It was on that first, as I say, I'm sure people will have seen it, kind of thing. And on there is all sorts of little drawings of, there's the castle on there, there's the church on there, the post office, that's where Mark worked. All sorts. There's the House of Correction, 200-300 years ago, I think, before we had prisons as such. I think if you'd done something naughty in the village, they threw you in there until somebody else came round and took you away. So all pictures of those, and those drawings I did all do in Procreate. And originally were colour, and I've sold some of them individually as cards. But then I got this idea of, I wanted something that when people come to Harden, there's something they can buy, not expensive, but take away and either give as a gift or, so that's what I did. I compiled them inside the H of Harden. And there's some texture in there, because I love texture. And some of the texture is like, quite often I'm taking pictures in church, not of the window necessarily, but of a really nice meaty block of brick or something that I like the texture on, and then I use that in Procreate, or the floorboards, or a wedding the other day is a prime example. And Jess said, "What are you doing?" And there was a beautiful herringbone pattern in one of the wood floors. So I'm taking a picture of that. It's like, who takes a picture of that? I said, creative people do.
Exactly. You're going to use it as a gorgeous background texture.
I'm going to use it as a background in something, So yeah. So, and then, as I say, I'd looked into doing tea towels, and obviously it's finding your price. And I knew Mark would sell them for me, but obviously I expect he needs to make a little bit of something as well. So I found this fabulous company, Mesh Tex, which Zoe Schofield is another one of your students put me onto, and they are just fantastic. I've been talking with them today, and so my tea towels will be printed soon, and I share that on Instagram, things like I've kind of been up to and what have you. So yeah, so all good, and as I say, anything for community, and I'm working on a little bit of something hopefully for Christmas that's a bit different. So but it's under wraps at the moment, so I shall.
Okay. Good. You'll be able to come on and tell us about it as we get closer to Christmas.
I will.
Yeah, but I think it's also a great thing to talk about how it's important for us to diversify, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you have been able to both diversify with the places where you sell your work, whether
yeah,
that's the post office or it's online in some of your print on demand shops, or if it's
yeah.
at craft fairs or through your church. You
Mm,
also now get revenue from your course and your membership, and
yeah,
that kind of allows you to continue to manage the different components in your business
yeah.
and also do them at different times of the year. So talk just a little bit about how do you manage that? What's your kind of system for managing these different components?
Well, these last kind of few weeks has really made me have to focus properly. Jed had a hip replacement about 8 weeks ago. So I knew I was going to need to do more for him because, to be fair, he basically looks after me all the time. So I knew I was going to be able to just work. So I had to be a bit more focused. And the one thing that I've kind of given up a little bit was my social media. I was a bit obsessed with it. So I've kind of not stepped back that I'm not posting, but just not as, so I focused more on the things that I wanted to do. I've been working on that pattern, and I spoke to Mark the other day for a suggestion for something that we can hopefully sell in the post office and in the craft fairs at Christmas. As I say, it's trying to, I try, and my membership, I usually, I share to them, I like email them that we've got a live coming up. I post in the group, and then we do the live, and then I share the bit like yourself, share the video with them, and I always include a cheat sheet if it's something like we're doing yesterday, so you can remember how to do it, and then I can focus on something else. Like tomorrow, I'm interviewing Virginia for your
Great.
spotlight that I do. So I try to keep my day focused on what I'm doing, keep my long-term focus as well, and I've got my designs for Christmas. I just need to finalise how I'm going to put them together and what I'm going to sell them on. So that's what I try to do. So yeah.
All right, so we're going to share, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go to your website because, of course, I want everybody to know how to continue to follow you. So hold on one
I
second.
think Facebook at the moment, Anne, because my other website isn't up.
Okay, no
So if
problem.
you find,
We're going to go to Facebook, right?
yeah, Pauline Reilly Art and Design.
Yep. And so hold on one second because let's see, where am I? I think that I am here, and I'm going to go here. And so people can go onto Facebook and search for Pauline Reilly Art and Design. Here you are right here. And in
Yes.
July, you're doing something similar to what I'm doing with these summer
Yeah.
spotlights, right? You're sharing my fave creators. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of do something a bit kind of like paid forward because everybody's really supportive of me. Oh, there we are live. I've shared it into my
Into
group. Into your I've shared the live we're doing now in there. So I've shared things like my favorite creators and businesses and places basically where I spend my time and spend my money. And so places like Charcoal Gallery I've mentioned in there today. There was a company that I used that I ordered a plaque through Rotary for. I've shared some of the people in my membership. So I've shared Vonnie so far. I've still got others kind of to do. So I've tried to share some things that are local, and then the next day maybe do someone that's further afield, or do a business that's on Etsy. Or I just think all that stuff is so important to us that when you get that mention, I know we know that our email list is so important, but it's nice if you've perked someone's day up when they suddenly think that you've shared shared a bit of love. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not as I'd intended to do it day in day out, but I'm a little bit more. I've done 3 days today, but as long as I share the love, I don't think anybody's going to hold me to the date. So yeah, so
Exactly.
that's what I'm doing. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And we always have to remember that the businesses that we're running, they actually have to work for our life. And
absolutely.
not, right, that we're not working for these businesses are supporting our life. And so,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
so it's good for you to do it on your own terms, right,
yeah,
so that you can make everything else in your life work.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
you're live once a week or so, right? Don't you do
yeah,
lives again? Or tell us about
yeah,
those.
I'm about to start my lives again. I had you know how it can be. I had a technical issue the last 2 or 3 memberships. Yesterday's was fine, But I think since Zoom and Facebook and they've all higgledy-piggledy things around, I suddenly had problems with my sound. And so I've been filming live, but nobody could hear anything I was saying. So I then had posted it into my group. But I think hopefully now, fingers crossed, I've sorted that. So the membership went well yesterday. So yes, I'm about to start doing my lives on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock, which is noon Pacific time. So because a lot of my followers and members are in the States, a lot of them are in California, like yourself. And I've got followers like Maria, who you talked about last week, in Sweden, and Diana Holland in Australia. And so it is amazing that social media can connect us in such a good way.
It is amazing. And next week, Maria Alexander is going to actually be right here with me physically. So
Really?
I am so excited that she's going to be here for my Wednesday Live next week. And then when I come see you in September, I don't remember what day of the week it is, but we'll have to do a live no matter what day of the week it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Somewhere in Hardin.
Yeah, and I was really excited on Monday, and not that I'm even there, but I was thinking Maria was arriving this week, and you were like, "No, it's next week."
Yeah, she's coming next week, so I'm super excited
she's getting
about
close
it.
to the. Is she in Vancouver at the moment? I think
she is, exactly. Yeah. She's on the West Coast. She's just like way, way, way north of me, but she'll be here soon. So as we wrap up, Pauline, the best way for people to follow you is to go to your Facebook business page, Pauline Reilly Art and Design, and then when you do have your website back up and running, please make sure that I have the link so I can share that with my community. That would be awesome. And tell us, like, what are you most excited about as you think about the coming months?
This project, I think that for my Christmas sales with Mark, there's another couple of things coming up, events in the village that we're organising, either with Rotary and that's the great thing about in Rotary and in church. I can share some of those techie skills that I've got. So I'm excited about that. We've got a little project coming up, hopefully with one of the schools, and something like this.
Great.
So and of course that now for Rotary is bringing us a little bit of passive income in, because each time we sell one we get a little bit, so it brings it all in. So continuing what I'm doing, I should really, I suppose, start thinking in the next 4 weeks about Valentine's and Mother's Day next year, but I never quite get that together. I'm better at planning for Christmas, because as a retailer, we're always talking about Christmas, whether you're in January and you're reviewing it, or whether you're in Christmas and you're in it, or whether you're at the Christmas conference in July or something. So I'm much better at organising myself for planning ahead for Christmas.
And that's the most important one to be planning about, because that's when everybody makes their money. So it definitely is the most important one for you to focus on. Yeah. So once we finish broadcasting, will you go back and, like, in the replay feed, put some links to where people can buy that book, for example? That's on Amazon, right? So people could buy it.
It's on Amazon. You can order it wherever you are. Yes.
For note taking. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic for a bit of note taking. So. Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely, Anne, I'll do that,
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to wrap up, because I never like to take more than about a half an hour. I know people are very busy, but thank you everyone for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll have Pauline back again when she's able to share the secret of what she's doing for the holiday time frame. And don't go anywhere, Pauline. When we finish broadcasting, you and I will still actually be connected to one another. And so we can chat for a few more minutes. And thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
I loved it. I would never turn up the opportunity to spend time with you, Anne. I was so excited when you said yes today. So
I know, and isn't it amazing that we still have not met in person, but we are meeting in person in September. But we've known each other for over 5 years now, and getting these incredible friendships as a result of what it is that we do online is such an incredible blessing. It opens the world up to us in a way that was never possible before.
Absolutely, definitely.
All right. Well, I always like to say in closing that I am Anne LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. So join us again next week for our next summer spotlight with Maria Alzanier. I'll make sure I send out reminders. And again, Pauline, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.